Okay.
So I'll leave it. I'll send everything over to you.
Okay, perfect. Well, it makes sense to start then just looking at some of the general strategies when it comes to reading Part C. That's what a lot of the requests have been that Alex has just been reading out. So let's start with that. So first of all, we have to be aware of the format, exactly what it is that we're going to face. And I'm sure that quite a few of you will be aware of this if you've done any practice tests before. So with reading Part C, you are going to have to deal with 2 long texts, okay? So they're around 750 to 850 words each. So those texts are extended. It's going to involve some time to process the information within, and that is what is key for the reading Part C section of the exam, being able to process information within those texts, okay? So the questions that you're going to have to answer, they're going to be 4 multiple choice options. So you're going to have A, B, C, and D for each of the questions. And you need to be able to work out which is the best option in each case. So in terms of the skills involved, you're going to have to be able to use skills which read for gist and main points. So that's basically being able to detect what is the overall message that is being communicated within a particular paragraph, a particular stretch of text. And you're also going to need to be able to detect attitude and opinion as well. So you're going to be reading text which, generally speaking, are not going to focus specifically on facts so much as where was this drug invented or where were these trials conducted. It's going to be more focusing on specific physicians, specific doctors, people who work in the medical profession, and it's going to be their views and their opinions in relation to a particular medical issue. So you've got to be able to detect opinion, to recognize attitude, to recognize when information in the text is displaying a positive attitude towards something or a negative attitude towards something, or maybe something in between. These sorts of skills are very important for reading Part C. And we'll see that in the example we're going to look at today. We'll look at different doctors and we'll sort of practice identifying what is the message that they are communicating within the written text. As well as those sorts of questions, you're also going to have questions which relate to what is known as lexical reference. So this could be a single word, or it could be a short phrase which will be highlighted and underlined in the text, and you'll be asked to answer questions in relation to what these short phrases and words are referring to, or what they mean. So it's common that words such as it, or they, or these, or those, these sorts of pronoun references will come up quite a lot. And so what we need to do in order to answer the question, what does the word it refer to, for example, we need to be able to show an understanding of the text, often beyond just the individual sentence, but looking at the way that sentence is linked together. So maybe, for example, we'd have to look at the previous sentence to see what was the information that was contained, and then see how that links to the following sentence in order to be able to answer those sorts of questions. When it comes to a short phrase that we need to work out the meaning of, it might be a phrase that we have heard before, it might be a phrase that we haven't heard before, but the key is that it's going to be the sort of phrase which is going to be influenced by the context. So if we have to answer, for example, what's the meaning of forever and a day, for example, then we don't just have to rely on our background knowledge. If we have some background knowledge, that can be useful, but we have to look at the context in which the phrase is being used within the text in order to be able to answer the question successfully. And again, that involves reading not just within the individual sentence, but looking at the sentences that are connected to that phrase as well. Okay, so just a final thing on general strategies then. Remember, it's opinions over facts, so we need to be working out what are the messages, what are the opinions and the attitudes that are being expressed. And also, it's not about just finding specific information, so finding words within just a specific sentence. Often we have to read paragraphs as a whole in order to be able to get the correct answers. And it's also worth remembering that in a lot of the questions, it will refer to a specific paragraph. So we can actually look at that paragraph and break it down in order to get the answer to the question that we are trying to find the answer to. Okay. So that's a very sort of general introduction then in terms of some strategies. I think it's useful